Welcome to the SQN Education, Politics, Society. For the first time you join in the program, please subscribe to the channel, like, share and comment your opinion with everyone. Today, we introduce to you a subject, the war. Hopefully these videos will help you in life, work and study. Now, let's get started. What is war? War is an armed conflict between the armed forces of states, or between governmental forces and armed groups that are organized under a certain command structure and have the capacity to sustain military operations, or between such as organized groups. It is generally characterized by extreme violence, destruction, and mortality, using regular or irregular military forces. Warfare refers to the common activities and characteristics of types of war, or of wars in general. War is not restricted to purely legitimate military targets, and can result in massive civilian or other non-combatant suffering and casualties. How many types of war are there? Based on the nature of the war purpose, there are two types of war: just war and unjust war. A just war is a war waged for purposes in accordance with international law and human moral values. A war against aggression and for national liberation is a just war. An unjust war is a war waged for purposes contrary to international law and human moral values. Imperialist wars and wars of aggression are unjust wars. Based on the scale of the target and the level of social participation, there are two types: total war and limited war. Total war is a war in which the scale of the target is wide, including both military and civilian, with the participation of the entire national power, and the consequences are often great. The first two world wars, 1914 to 1918, and the second, 1939 to 1945, are of this type. Limited war has a narrower purpose. The target is mainly military with an unlimited scale. The participating forces are part of the army. The level of destruction is usually not too great. Border wars often belong to this type. Based on the participating subjects, there are two types: international war and civil war. International war is a war between entities of international relations, usually states. All wars between states fall into this category. Civil war is a war between political factions within a state. Insurrections or uprisings fall into this category. In modern times, many civil wars have a distinctly international character because of interdependence in the international security environment and direct or indirect links with outside states. Based on the weapons used in war, there are two types: conventional war and mass destruction war. Conventional warfare is a type of warfare in which the forces involved are mainly regular and semi-regular soldiers, and the weapons used have a limited level of destruction. All wars that have occurred are of this type. Mass destruction warfare is a war that mainly uses weapons of mass destruction such as nuclear, chemical and biological. This type of warfare has never occurred in practice, although these weapons have been used in some conventional wars. What is the cause of war? Personal causes. originate from the following issues. From a psychological perspective, the cause of war in human aggressive behavior belongs to the destructive instinct, or also known as the death instinct. War originates from the paranoid fear inside people about imaginary enemies. People wage war to suppress that paranoid fear. Based on life instincts and functional activities. The instinctive aggression of animals is to carry out activities that maintain the existence of animals, such as fighting for food, mates, and habitat. Therefore, in order to survive in similar circumstances and living conditions, humans must also be aggressive to carry out functional activities and maintain their existence. Based on genetics, the ability to distinguish friend from foe in the human mind is genetic. Therefore, humans are prone to accept violence as a way to resolve conflicts. Because it is genetic, the ability to distinguish friend from foe determines the constant existence of conflict, war, and violence. The ability to cooperate is still possible. Based on the human instinct to possess. The instinct to possess makes people fight for land, property, and other interests. In such inevitable struggles, people are willing to use violence to possess or protect their possession. However, this instinct, as well as its connection with war, can be controlled. Based on the rational approach, there are two schools of thought. The first school of thought believes that the decision to go to war is the result of the leader's rational analysis and choice. They decide to go to war because war can bring more power and benefits. The opposite of thought believes that the decision to go to war also comes from illusions and errors in perception. National level. It could be due to issues like views on the relationship between war and political regime or form of state. The basic argument of this view is that in democracies, the government is elected by the people and is actually controlled by the people, so the government's decisions are more likely to reflect the people's will for peace. Another view links the cause of war to the economic interests of a class, a certain social group, or a nation. In addition, there are other views such as generalizing the possessive nature of humans into community interests and expressing them as national interests, or war occurs from a lack of resources for national development. The sociological view holds that war is related to gender issues. This view comes from feminism. According to some feminism scholars, men are often more aggressive and also more willing to use violence than women. The historical society of mankind is mainly patriarchal. The world we live in is dominated by men. Therefore, conflicts and wars have occurred more. According to them, the world would be less violent and less war-ridden if women were equal to men, especially in the process of political decision-making and war. According to the war view of ethnic nationalism, different identities and interests of nations, ethnicities easily lead to conflicts and wars. It seems that one can find national colors in many wars, both international and civil wars. The national motives of war are quite diverse. Because ethnic nationalism exists quite firmly, its ability to lead to war is also maintained for a long time. Another view attributes the cause of war to the interaction of power between nations. This is the most common approach in the basic view of realism. However, the rise of power of one nation leads to the fear of another nation. According to Mansfield's theory of concentration of power, a moderate difference in power is more likely to lead to war than a large or equal difference. Because such growth is considered a threat, countries tend to initiate war first to prevent it. States need to use all means and methods, including violence, to ensure their survival. International system level. There are three main views on the nature of the international system and the origins of war. Unipolar, struggle for power. War can occur when a country increases its power and challenges the status of the other country in the world. Competition between them will create tension and increase the risk of war. The newly rising country can initiate war to change its position. Conversely, the hegemonic country can also initiate war to maintain its hegemonic position. In addition, in a unipolar structure, war can also occur when the sole pole uses violence to maintain the stability of the system or the oppressed countries resist by using violence and war. Bipolar system. Those who follow this view believe that this structure contains a rather deep schism in international relations, and this schism brings instability to the whole system. In addition, the danger lies in the deeper level of contradictions, greater concentration of power, global ambitions, and the desire to eliminate greater opponents, and more frequent struggles between them. Therefore, war is not impossible. War can be prevented in the center but takes place on the periphery in the form of proxy wars. Multipolar system. Those who follow this view have given a series of reasons. First, the flexibility of the balance of power with constant changes in alliances easily leads to a state of constant instability of the system, and that is what stimulates the occurrence of war. Second, the multipolar system is inherently less orderly, so the lack of calculation of a certain pole is very easy to drag countries into war. Third, because countries always tend to seek greater power for themselves, the competition for status between poles is inevitable, and therefore war is also likely to occur. Thank you for watching the videos of SQN program. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like, and share this information for many people to know. See you again in the next videos. Thank you very much.